A modelling project has 5 stages, as listed in Whispering in the Wind. First you have to find a model, and it is assumed, actually I think it's stated explicitly, that the model shall be an exemplar, they shall be excellent, because if you don't choose somebody who is excellent, it's a waste of time. Excellent is probably your own definition, but a guiding principle is the difference between somebody who is excellent at what they do and somebody who is an ordinary performer, makes it work, but it's not particularly inspiring, is usually in one's own physiology, in the response one has to observing somebody brilliant compared with somebody ordinary. And it's possible to identify excellence in areas in which one has no knowledge whatsoever. When the building that Leanne lives in was being built, I watched the crane drivers doing their thing. And there were 3 of them. There were 3 tower cranes. And one of them had a driver, its main driver, who was an artist and a dancer and a joy to watch. And the synesthesias that I experienced from watching this guy doing his thing were quite something. The others were all competent. None of them did anything worse than the ordinary in this. And the guy who replaced this one on his day off was quite passable. But none of them were such a joy to watch as the guy who was an artist. That's the sort of distinction you're after in finding somebody who is excellent. There is a kind of seamless dance-like quality to their activity, even if it's a really boring job. Somebody who is that good can make sweeping the floor look beautiful. So then there's the second stage, which is having chosen your model. You need to model them. But what wasn't stated specifically in the first stage is not only do you need to identify your model, you've also got to define your project, which is where the TOTE model was so useful, where we had the outcome, the evidence, the operations, and the downside plan, so that you could see at a glance, have you got too much for a project of a given length or a given breadth or a given time frame, so that you can actually narrow the scope to a skill, so that if, say, you are choosing somebody who is an expert violinist, on a project the size of a master track project, you'd probably be well advised to start off with holding the bow correctly, and then learning to play a scale. And then if you've got time and the inclination in that project, you can take it further, another small piece. A project like that can go on for a lifetime. It can expand after the piece that's had to be written for here. Same with anything in a kitchen. Taking a specific task, like boning a chicken, whether one is doing it in the Western or the Chinese method, is something that can be done as a single flowing set of movements, and is a skill worth having if you're that way inclined. Whatever, and it can be expanded to other things one does in the kitchen. Identifying wine. You might start off with identifying a single product from a single vineyard, until you've got that down, and then expand it to the neighbouring vineyards, the region, different products, different countries, and take it kind of outwards, again from something small enough and manageable enough that you can take it right through the stages in 3 months, which you've got. So you've now identified excellence, you've identified what you want to learn, you've identified the model, and then there is the modelling. This is where the temptation to do other things is going to be immense. What you need to do is model implicitly. Wide open peripheral vision, internal silence, know nothing. And the more you do, the harder it will be to resist understanding it, making it conscious, and having internal dialogue about it and muttering to yourself. It is vitally important that you keep it outside conscious awareness and go on just doing it in kind of, it's a bit like blind faith, only it's not blind because you are exposed to the model, until they sign you off, and then you do your practice, still unconscious.